What's up,
From
guys?
his family.
Was out on the field pretty much the whole entire first half.
Got a lot of great games.
Is it
I'm
gonna
highlighting
play?
2 SEC games.
What's up, guys? It's your
From
boy.
his family.
Ballard. What's up, guys? It's your boy
Hey.
Mayhem Matthew. All right, third time is a charm. Yep. So, what's up, guys? It's your boy Mayhem Matthew. This is your co-host Christian Ballard of Ballard Sports Media. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. I think I'm having tech issues on my end. I don't know if it happened to you too, but that was the weirdest intro we've ever had. But let's just get the show going.
Yeah, for sure. So, Ballard, let's talk about the very first topic. We are going to talk about way too early Heisman contenders. So me and Ballard have put like a little top 5 list together, and we're going to tell you our top 5. Now, I don't know what ranking Ballard has his, and he don't know what mine's is. So we'll see. We're going to be reacting to this live. So let's start actually, Ballard, with your number 5 way too early Heisman contender.
Number 5 on the list at the bottom here, and he is good. I will admit it. I'm gonna go Arch Manning of Texas is at number 5 here.
Arch Manning of Texas. Okay.
Yes.
So,
Shout out to the chat, by the way. Ugga Boy, good to see you, brother. Miss you, man. And Ramma Jamma Taylor, good to see y'all. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
Arch Manning. I got some things to say about Arch Manning.
Right.
I think Arch Manning is going to be the most overhyped, overpaid, overrated talent next year. And you can call me crazy. Texas is going to be good. Arch Manning is going to have ballers around him. He's going to have an offensive line. He's going to have wide receivers. He's going to have tight ends. But Arch Manning himself is not going to be what he's all built up to be. I don't even have him in my top 5 for that reason. I would say he's fringe top 10 for me because, like, whenever I think of Arch Manning, I'm thinking about how, like, okay, let's get something straight, right? He is a great runner. You know, he's very, very extremely fast. Yes, that is true. But whenever it comes to reading a defense, whenever it comes to passing the ball, and if he's about to get sacked, can he get the ball out to his playmakers, and stuff like that? So I think Manning's getting a lot of hype and a lot of praise because of his last name, Manning. Okay, so if his name was Arch Ballard, we wouldn't even be talking about him as a potential top 5 quarterback, in my opinion. So, like, with his last name being Manning, I think he has a lot of people up here whenever really his expectations should be a little bit, in the middle or, down here, right? So I disagree with you as far as you putting him at top 5, but that is your list. I have at number 5 coming in running back Notre Dame Jeremiah Love. This guy is an absolute beast. Last year, he ranked second last year in yards after contact per rush. and averaging 4.41 yards after only trailing Boise State's Ashton Genty. He was the number 6 overall. Ashton Genty was the 6th number overall pick in the NFL draft. So honestly, Jeremiah Love I believe Jeremiah Love is going to have a better season, which we'll get to hot takes later, but this is another hot take. Jeremiah Love probably have a better season than Ashton Genty did this past season. Jeremiah Love, I'm very high on Jeremiah Love. Notre Dame's going to have a great offensive line for him to be able to get through the holes and, get outside and stuff like that and be able to make plays. Also, Jeremiah Love can also catch the ball. He's a great running back that he can catch passes from the backfield, right? This guy is extremely talented, and got to see him play last year, and I'm very high on him. He's at number 5 for me.
I do like Jeremiah Love. I think that he has a lot of potential this year. He's not in my list though. I would put him just outside. And you can fight me in the parking lot if you want. I don't care. But that being said, again, I do like him on the list. Didn't really think to have him in here in the top 5. I'm going to stick to quarterbacks here. Go to my number 4, working our way up all the way to number 1, of course. Garrett Nussmeier of LSU. I'd love to hear your debate here, or if you would agree or disagree. But I do think that LSU had a pretty solid offense last year. Won their last 3 games. They went 9-4 overall, counting the bowl. This is a team that is going to try to compete for the SEC. This is a quarterback in Nussmeier who had over 4,000 yards. He did take 16 sacks last year. He threw 12 picks. Not the best. 29 touchdowns for him. But if there's one thing I've seen in a trend, and even one of them coming under Brian Kelly, there has, within the last 7 years or whatever it's been since Joe Burrow, 2 quarterbacks have won it from LSU. What do you think of Nussmeier?
So you are disrespecting the mess out of Garrett Nussmeier. I have Garrett Nussmeier in my top 5. I don't want to spoil where I have him in my top 5, okay? Do not want to spoil that, but I am going to say that he was 5th nationally in all of college football and 2nd in the best conference in the nation, the SEC, with 4,052 passing yards just last year. You already told everybody that he threw for 29 touchdown passes. Yes, I understand, not too good with the interceptions, but you also have to understand that he did not have the best offensive line of last year. Remember last year, I watched a lot of LSU this past season, and at times, whenever the offensive line wasn't doing good, that's whenever the offense really struggled to get things going. It seemed like the offensive line really stopped LSU's offense from really taking that next step forward. Nussmeier is obviously one of the tops quarterbacks in the nation. I would say probably the best quarterback in the nation coming into this year. I am very high on him.
For sure, man.
So coming in at number 4 for me, I have Cade Klubnik, quarterback, Clemson. Now, I debated whether I wanted to put him at 5 or 4, but I I see a world where Cade can lead Clemson into another playoff run. Clemson squeaked by this past season, got into the playoffs with the help of obviously Syracuse. And obviously they won the ACC. And they got their automatic bid because they were ACC champions. Cade Klubnik was that quarterback that led them, and I can see him getting better. He was one of the 2 FBS quarterbacks with more than 3,600 passing yards and 400 rushing yards. He also had 43 touchdowns, 36 passing, and 7 rushing. Only threw 6 interceptions, so that's also really, really good. In 486 passing attempts. So, like, the dude is a complete stud. He's in the ACC, doesn't play top tier competition. He does play LSU week 1, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. But yeah, Cade Klubnik, man, is a great quarterback, and I love what I see in Cade Klubnik.
I like what I see in him too. And so where was I? I talked to Arch Manning. My number
3,
4. We're on number
3.
4 here. Number 3. Well, that's actually where I got Cade Klubnik here. Is that number 3? A lot of people would have him number 1. Which I guess in some ways I could kind of see that. I could kind of get that. I'm not sold on him being the Heisman front runner. Um, I just, man, Cade Klubnik, he is a beast. He's really, really good. I just think that, you know, I'm not going to say he's an overhyped guy because people got him as possibly the front runner. Some sources, like Greg McElroy, for example, but um, I don't know, man. I just think that he's more hyped than he is slept on, but he's still really, really good and will be a Heisman finalist this year. Threw for over 3,000 last year, 63 completion percentage, 6 picks, 36 touchdowns. The only thing I don't like is that offensive line for him. I want to see it beef up a little bit. 23 sacks last year. Kind of held Clemson back a little bit just against the pressure and everything. That's kind of where they fell a little bit, I would say.
For sure. So coming in at my number 3, I really thought long and hard about this. And there's a couple of guys that came to my mind whenever I was making this decision. But I'm going to go Ryan Williams, wide receiver from
Okay.
Alabama. Did you know last year he was 17-year-old? Yeah. Anyways, he was already one of the best wide receivers in the country just last year as a true freshman. All right. And, he had the game winner against Georgia. He had 10 touchdowns, 8 receiving, and 2 rushing touchdowns. Obviously, he's he's the best wide receiver at Alabama right now, in my opinion, anyways. He averaged 18 yards per catch. And honestly, like, you know, after the catch, he makes people miss. That very memorable play comes to mind whenever I say that. You know, Georgia versus Alabama. Whenever he spun out of 2 Georgia defenders, and Georgia always has you know extremely good defense, and Ryan Williams was able to spin and do something to get out of two defenders to get that game-winning touchdown. Um, just and a absolutely amazing stud at wide receiver. And there's only one other wide receiver that I'm gonna get to a little bit later that's better than him. But as a true sophomore coming in, he's probably the best true he's probably well, yeah, he's the second best wide receiver in all of the country.
I think you saying that he's the second best, we obviously would know who is number one, but um
Well, who's your number two on your Heisman list?
oh, Ryan Williams. After Cade Klubnik for me, because Klubnik's at 3, going up to number 2 is Ryan Williams.
For
I
sure.
mean, the guy was 17 last year and just looked phenomenal. Now he didn't really go into the record books or nothing, but he he is a special kind of talent when you look at him, what he's able to do. Um, his speed, his athleticism, agility. He's a physical type of wide receiver. The ball goes where he goes, and he goes where the ball goes. See ball, get ball for
Is
Ryan
it
Williams.
is it crazy to say this that
What?
Alabama goes 7-5 if they didn't have Ryan Williams last year?
Oh yeah, no, that's not crazy at all, man.
Because
He
obviously,
carried that
obviously,
team.
obviously, they would have lost to Georgia without Ryan Williams because he made the touchdown win. He made the touchdown catch that won the game last season in the Alabama Georgia game. But I'm sure there's another game that Ryan Williams had last year that he heavily impacted. I mean, is it crazy to say Alabama would have went 7-5 without Ryan Williams?
It's crazy to think about. It's not crazy to say because I would kind of agree because if you don't have wide receivers today, you can't make a play, you can't score, therefore you can't win games. You would have lost to Georgia. You had already lost 3 to Vandy, Tennessee, and Oklahoma, and you probably would have lost South Carolina. So 7-5 last year, if not for Ryan Williams, that's not a crazy take.
Yeah, so he is definitely. I mean,
Carry that team.
he definitely carried that team, and he's definitely going to carry this team once again. Y'all have a new quarterback at the helm. It's not going to be Jalen Milroe. Um, I guess it's going to be the Ty Simpson game. I
Yeah,
don't know.
he's been announced. Yeah,
Yeah, so Ty Simpson, QB1. Ty Simpson is going to heavily rely on Ryan Williams. I mean, he's going to be the go-to guy. I feel like here's another hot take. We do that on the touchdown show a lot. I mean, if you can shut down Ryan Williams next year, is it crazy to say that you pretty much shut down this offense?
right.
It's going to be very hard to stop Ryan Williams. He is going to be the second best wide receiver in the whole country. And coming in at my number 2, I have Garrett Nussmeier. We already talked about Garrett Nussmeier, but amazing quarterback. I know he had 12 interceptions, but I'm looking at this upcoming year, and I do believe that LSU hopefully gets a little bit better than they were this past season. This past season for LSU was a letdown year. I'm gonna just be honest with you. It was a letdown year, but if they could do a little bit better, Garrett Nussmeier can lower them interceptions if their O line gets a little bit better, which I believe they will. So coming in at number one for both of us is not any question. Jeremiah Smith, and you
Right.
know I I believe he was a true freshman last year, wasn't he? So he's
I think, yeah.
yeah.
Was
So
he a freshman or a
yeah,
sophomore?
he was a true freshman. He's going to be a true sophomore, just like Ryan Williams. Both of them are the top two quarterbacks in the country. Not even
Wide
close.
receivers.
So Jeremiah Smith. I mean, do I really have to tell you? I mean, why I think he's number one on this list? I mean, he's just an absolute stud. I mean, just go. All you got to do is Jeremiah Smith highlights, and you'll know why he is my number one, way too early Heisman contender.
Uh,
What do you
yeah,
say?
he had 2 touchdowns in both the Tennessee and Oregon playoff games. He had one in the national title game. Didn't really see too much from him against Texas, but he was a big part down the stretch, especially in the playoffs for Ohio State to win it all.
Yep. So, you got anything else to say about Jeremiah Smith?
Just a really good talent. I wish him the best going forward, and it would not surprise me if he has a really good year with the Buckeyes and ends up being in New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony.
For sure. All right. So, up next, we are going to react to ESPN. They did a ranking of the best college football coaches for 2025. They have a top 10 list that we're going to react to. So, Ballard, did you want to share the screen and pull that up for us?
Yes, let's see here. Uh, Here we go. Okay. We'll skip all this. I think that it's obvious Kirby Smart should be number one. I think that's one that doesn't need to be up for debate. Um, he's only coached at Georgia. He's 105-19. Um, 11, 11 of 12 first place votes. I'd love to see who. Well, it's probably Dabo Swinney, but I don't know. Most likely.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think there's any question. Kirby Smart is definitely number one.
yeah. Now it gets interesting though. Ryan Day, number 2 at Ohio State, did just win a national title. I'll give him that. Um, but these are the best current coaches. Would you agree with Ryan Day being number 2?
No,
No? Who would you go with?
Ryan. Sorry, that was Sweeney.
I probably would too. Despite not having won a title since 2018, he did make the playoffs last year. Um, I mean, I think he's a great recruiter. I think he's still a really good head coach. The only complaint you could have about him is he doesn't use the portal and his offense has fallen off a little bit. But other than that, like, and I know that they kind of used the portal this offseason, um, but they have struggled to use it like everyone else has. Um, in years past. But I would say Dabo Swinney because of 2 national titles, because of his win percentage at Clemson, because of just the consistency outside of really the fall off to this 8, 9 win, whatever, instead of trying to win national championships. He's still very consistent in recruiting. He's still very consistent in how he coaches guys. And I think that's very important. His leadership and just being himself, I think, opens up so many doors for Clemson in the future.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and say this about Ryan Day. I'm just not a big fan of Ryan Day. I don't care if he wins a
I'm not
million.
either.
I don't care if he wins a million national championships. And I said it, a million. I'm just not. I don't know. For some reason, this guy. Have you ever? Have you ever met somebody? And now I've never met Ryan Day, but I've seen his face plastered everywhere, and I've seen press conferences and stuff like that. But in his embarrassing moments on TV and stuff like that. But uh, have you ever just like seen someone and you're just like, ugh, I don't like him, right? And you don't have any reason. You have no reason. You have no reason why that you should like him or you should not like him. You just don't like him. Have you ever had that happen before?
Yeah, I've been there. Um, I
Or
mean,
someone just
I
you
feel
look
that
at
way
them.
when people get hyped up, it like to the extreme. I feel that way. I felt that way about Trevor Lawrence at Clemson. I didn't really have much reason to actually hate him. I know he beat my team in a national title, but I mean, the guy won as a freshman. Very good character, very good heart. But still, I just, for a while, not anymore, but for a while, I just kind of shook my head and kind of despised him a little bit. Um,
Here's
so I get what you're saying.
here's the thing, Ballard. I'm gonna say something. I think Ryan Day for the last what ever since pretty much ever since Ryan Day has been head coach at Ohio State. Well, I'll say probably the last 3 or 4 years. Okay. This man has had the best team in college football every single year. He's going to have the best team in college football this year. Ohio State should have at least, under Ryan Day, at least 3 national championships. At least, bare minimum. This guy only has
How
one
many
national
times? How many?
championship.
By the way, how many times has he beat Michigan?
Yeah, that too. You can't even beat your rival.
Exactly.
This guy
Exactly.
should have. All right, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, if Ohio State's field goal kicker can make a field goal, they beat Georgia, and then they would have beat TCU. Come on, right? They would have won that national championship. That's
Right.
one national championship. We all know that had Ohio State beaten Michigan a couple years ago in 2023, Ohio State would have won that national championship. And then they won the national championship this past year. That's 3 national championships Ohio State should have.
And two of them are back to back, possibly.
So, like, bro, Ohio State, Ryan Day, you want me to believe that Ryan Day is the second best head coach whenever I know that Dabo Sweeney just a short few years ago, I know it seems like a long time ago in the world of college football that we live in and how much has changed with NIL and transfer portal and and realignment, all that stuff has changed drastically since the last time Clemson's won a national championship. But it wasn't like that long ago. It hadn't been like 10 years ago, right? So Ryan, Dabo Sweeney won 2016, and then 2018 he won 2 national championships in 3 years at the height of where his program was. Ryan Day is right now in the height of where his program is. Does that make sense, or I'm not making any sense?
No, it makes sense.
Whenever Clemson was at its best, he won 2 out of 3 national championships. Whenever
Yeah.
Georgia was at its best, won back-to-back national championships. Whenever Ohio State was at its best, they only won 1 national championship whenever they should have won 3. That is why Ryan Day cannot be number 2 for me. That's why it's always going to be Dabo Swinney. And had this transfer portal and the NIL and all this stuff not been a thing, Clemson and Dabo Swinney would have way more than just 2 national championships. And Ryan Day would probably still have 0.
4, so
Huh?
they probably have 4 already. Dabo and Clemson.
And Ryan Day and Ohio State may only have still 1. So for me, you put Dabo Swinney, the head coach of Ohio State, for the past couple of years, he wins all them national championships. He's that great of a head coach. Ryan Day has done less with more. And I feel like Dabo Swinney has done more with less. I mean, literally, Clemson got into the playoffs, won an ACC championship, got into the playoffs, took Texas, which was the runner-up for the SEC this past season, took Texas all the way down to the wire. Yeah, I know they lost. A loss is a loss. I get it. But took them all the way down to the wire and could have won the game. I know shoulda, coulda, woulda, but they didn't. But, I mean, man, Dabo Swinney is always going to be number 2 for me. Ryan Day, I'll put Ryan Day at number 3, just based off of recency bias. He won a national championship. He should have some deserving praise. I'll put him at number 3.
I got you. Man. I don't really have much else to say other than I fully agree with everything you had to say. I do think Dabo is a better coach than Ryan Day. Now, what's a better looking program today? I mean, if you want to talk about, today we sit here and say that the defending champs are Ohio State. That's fair. That's great. But all time, historically, it's probably still Ohio State. I'm sure they got better numbers. But as a whole, when you talk about the coaches, it's really not that close between Dabo and Day. It's not close.
Facts. And, Ohio State pays way more NIL money to get these players and from the transfer portal and, high school. And, I mean, Ryan Day has an advantage whenever it comes to NIL and the transfer portal. Um, Ohio State just, gives out more money, and that's an advantage for Ryan Day. And, I feel like pre NIL, uh, I feel like Clemson and Dabo Swinney was on top of college football, and I feel like NIL and Obviously, the transfer portal for Dabo Sweeney because he's hard headed, not wanting to utilize it a lot. But because but I feel like that has been a little bit of the downfall of Clemson for the past few years. He's starting to use the transfer portal now, and we'll see what happens. I think Dabo Sweeney and company is going to be right back in that playoff conversation once again this year, and so is Ryan Day, of course. It's Ohio State, and they should be expected to make the playoffs once again since they're probably going to be, one of the most uh, NIL heavy teams this upcoming season. Because once you win one national championship, the second national championship gets more expensive. So, anyways,
That's true.
we can go down to the next set, and we already know 2 and 3. Three is probably going to be Dabo Sweeney. Yeah, that's what I figured.
Don't
All right,
need to
let's go
talk
to
about him.
let's go. We already talked about him. Let's go to number 4.
Yeah.
What's your initial thoughts seeing Marcus Freeman at 4?
Um, I like it. I guess. I mean, I do think he should be in the top 10 somewhere. Maybe number 4 is a stretch. I like this that it points out his record 33-10, all at Notre Dame. 14-2 this past year. Did lose to Northern Illinois. But after that, I mean, turned it around and made the national championship. Was a drive or two away from possibly winning or tying it up. I um I I don't know, man. Like Notre Dame is very historic. Are they relevant today? Yes. Is Marcus Freeman the guy? I think so. I would assume. Uh, I guess I could see him at 4, but again, I have to see the rest of this list and maybe actually dive deeper into it as far
Well,
as who
let's go
is.
down. Let's go down to
Yeah.
number 5.
Yeah.
Let's go down to
Well,
number
yeah,
5.
let's look at number 5 because I'm curious who they have him just above. Sarkeesian in Texas. Yeah. Like I say, Marcus Freeman, really, really good. But I would probably put Sark ahead of Marcus Freeman just because of hit more experienced coach.
Who's that? All
I
right, so
mean Notre Dame had one good playoff run to the national title game.
I'm just really curious. Who's number 6? We don't have to go further down to number 6. I'm really curious because I want to be able to make my opinion.
Lanning,
Dan Lanning. Okay. All right. I'm seeing a little bit of a trend here, but
what's the trend you see?
I honestly think I would put Sark at number 4.
Okay.
And for the same reasons why you just said, I do agree fully with what you just said. Um, I would put, I'd put Dan Lanning at 5, and then I don't want to say who would I put at 6 because I don't know who's at 7. But um, I could see a world where I could put Marcus Freeman at 6, depending on who they got at 7. But I do think this list is heavily recency biased.
Yeah. And we see that a lot today. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with it. I get it, but I think it's like what my grandmother tells me, man. You got to look at the big picture of everything. You know, see it for what it really is. And it's hard to do that sometimes. It's hard to see the big picture for what it really is in terms of I know some people don't want to, but you have to, right?
Yeah. I mean, who is number 7?
Let's see. Back over to it. DeBoer,
Ooh, who's number 8?
Franklin,
Okay, I have James Franklin over DeBoer. I would have this is how I would have it. I would have 6. Number 6, I would have Notre Dame coach. Um, number 7, I would have James Franklin. Number 8, who's number 9?
Whittingham,
Oh, I'm having 8 Kyle Whittingham. Who's last?
Mike Campbell.
I'd have 9 Kalen DeBoer, 10 Matt Campbell. I think 10 right. I think a lot of this list is 100% recency bias. Let's talk about Kyle Whittingham, bro. Well, look, come on, bro. Kyle Whittingham at 9? That's a
Yeah,
little low for me, bro.
yeah,
Guys,
I
tough.
agree.
What he's able to do at Utah from bringing let's not forget Utah was a group of
Hasn't
5
he been
team.
there? Well, it says it right here. He's been there about 20 years. But like,
Yeah,
isn't that his only coaching job too?
but what I'm saying is Utah was a group of 5 team. He brought Utah into the Power 4, or at the time it was Power 5. He beat Alabama in a bowl game one time. That was a marquee win for them. He has back-to-back Pac-12 championships, and at any time we can see Utah definitely be in contention for the Big 12 title at any time. I mean, it could be this year. Utah is just, you know, I think if they find the right quarterback, they're literally a one quarterback away from getting right back into this thing and winning the Big 12 possibly. And I was very high on them this past season. Obviously, that didn't go out how I thought it was going to go. But yeah, man, Kyle Whittingham at 9 is low. And Matt Campbell, like at 10, like Matt Campbell's good. But here's my question, Ballard. I have a question.
Okay.
What? Because I noticed Lincoln Riley's not on this top 10 list. What if
Right.
Lincoln Riley wins the Big Ten this year
He gets in the top 10 of coaches, probably.
for next year, right?
Right.
So that is my point, Ballard. Like, this is definitely recency bias. Because are we going to forget everything that Lincoln Riley has done at Oklahoma and, what he was able to do? I think he won 10 games at one time at Southern Cal. Yeah, he's had a couple bad seasons, but, you know, does that make him like a terrible head coach now? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm the crazy one, but like Matt Campbell, was he on anybody's top 10 list this last year before the season started? Because he had some terrible years. And what did Iowa State do? They were in the Big 12 championship game, right?
Yeah.
And now he's back into the top 10 list, right? Remember, Matt Campbell a couple years ago was all over everybody's coaching list. All the people that fired their head coaches, he was on top of everybody's list. And he turned down, according to some sources, say that Matt Campbell turned down a lot of offers, um, and to stick with Iowa State Cyclones. And he had a couple of bad years, going 7-5 and stuff like that. And then now this year, this past year he won what 10, 11 games or whatever it was, and now he's back into the top 10 of best college football coaches going into 2025. Are you saying that ESPN just because of recency bias? Or are you saying that is because you really feel like Matt Campbell is a top 10 head coach right now?
Right. Yeah,
Like
I would ask the same thing.
a couple of years ago, Dave Aranda would have been on this list a couple of years ago. Now Baylor absolutely sucks now. So obviously Dave Aranda's not on this list, but what if Baylor goes on to win the Big 12? Will he be in your top 10 in 2026?
Um, if he does win,
Yeah, if like Dave
yeah,
Aranda won the Big 12 or something like that. I mean, the reason why I'm asking is like, is this list recency bias?
it's possible. I mean,
Because
I
why
would
do you
think
have,
it is.
huh?
I would think it is the way it's laid out.
Because there's a couple of coaches I would change. And Kyle Whittingham at 9 is crazy. So that's all I got to say about that. You want to go to ESPN's top 10 must watch games of 2025?
Sure. I mean, oh yeah, here we go. It's on 3.com. So we'll pull that up. I'm gonna let you lead us into this one, man.
All right, for sure. So coming in at number 10, we're going to start for 10 and go all the way to 1. Coming in at number 10, Ohio State going on the road at Michigan. This is really huge because Ohio State has not been able to beat Michigan for 4 years in a row. Will Michigan defeat Ohio State for the 5th straight season? That's the question. That's the storyline that's going on here. Obviously, if you make a top 10 list, Ohio State versus Michigan is going to be somewhere in your top 10. So I agree with this. I would have Ohio State at Michigan a lot higher than number 10. I have not seen this list yet. So I'm curious to see who is going to be higher, but I would have Ohio State at Michigan a lot higher than number 10. Give me your thoughts.
I would agree. I think it's always a must-watch game. Just because of the fact that it's a big rivalry game. Uh, I mean, I guess is that number 10. I mean, maybe they're putting it there at that low because it's so annual. We know what's gonna happen. Thing is, that's what makes it special is you never know what's gonna happen in these games. But I am curious to see the rest of this list because year in and year out, this is always not just a top 10. Like, dude, this is top 5, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Coming
But let's
in at
see,
number
let's see number 9.
Yeah, coming in at number 9, we got Texas A&M going on the road uh, to Notre Dame, September 13th. Obviously, Last year we saw Notre Dame beat the Aggies 23-13, and they were obviously in the national championship. They lost to Ohio State in a not really competitive game, in my opinion. But that's not the point. The point is, this is ranked number 9, Texas A&M going on the road to Notre Dame. I actually think this is. I think they cooked. I think this list absolutely cooked putting this game on in the top 10. I actually love. I love this game in the top 10. Honestly, I have no. I have nothing bad to say about this game being in the top 10. I'm actually very curious to see how Texas A&M. I mean, Texas A&M was one game away from being in the SEC championship. One game or 2 games away from even making the college football playoff. So, like, this is going to be a game that I look at, and honestly, like, whoever wins this game probably is in the playoffs, I would believe, for next year.
I think the winner is a definite lock, but I also would say keep an eye on both teams after this matchup, because both could be in it. And what are the chances we see a rematch in the playoffs or something?
Yeah. I mean, I think this could be one of those games where you circle and say, "Hey, one of these 2 teams are going to be in the 12-team playoff this upcoming season."
Yes.
Coming in at number 8, this is shocking. What in the world? Like, what? Um Now I understand how big this is in the FCS. I get this, right? But like, is it like I mean, best games to watch? I mean, whenever I turn on college football, I love college football. I love watching FCS, sometimes. Um this is kind of head scratching. I might would have put this at like number 9. I would have probably put the Aggies and Notre Dame ahead of this game because, if both of them were on at the same exact time, I mean, I know they're not going to be on at the same time. One September 13th, one September 27th. But if they were to be on at the same time, which one are you going to turn on? I mean, I would probably put this one at like number 9 or something like that. This is going to be a good game for the FCS, but it's kind of crazy that they put them at number 8. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm sure it's a good game. Probably a really good rivalry. It's FCS though. I'm not saying it's a top 10 or not a top 10, I should say. I'm not saying it shouldn't be on the list, but come on. I would much rather watch A&M Notre Dame than I would watch South and North Dakota.
Yeah, me too. I totally agree with you. Let's go to number 7. What? Montana State at Montana. Absolutely
The
nobody
bogus
wants.
list. This is so bogus.
I mean, like, I understand wanting to, change it up, but come on, bro. Who's dying to
What
see?
You know what they're doing? They're putting in-state rivalries. I don't even need to react to this. This is stupid. Like, let's okay, this next one, we're getting somewhere. Boise State at Notre Dame. What do you think about that?
Yeah, for sure. I actually like this one. Boise State at Notre Dame. I think this is perfectly placed at number 6. I think this is definitely number 6. I think they did really good job putting them at number 6. Boise State at Notre Dame. First time ever matchup. You know, um, this I love this. This could have easily happened in the playoffs this past season had Boise State beat Penn State. This would have easily been the game, right? Or am I wrong? But I'm pretty sure this could have easily
I think
been the game.
I think you're right.
But the point is, this is going to be hopefully a good game. You know, we'll see how Boise State is able to bounce back after losing Ashton Gency. Notre Dame's probably going to be a little bit either just as good or a little bit better. I know they lose their starting quarterback, but honestly, Notre Dame is their defense and that running back. Um, you know, Notre Dame's quarterback wasn't even that good last year, so you can really just plug in a quarterback that can not throw interceptions, right? Um, and they'll be really good. I think Notre Dame's going to be really good again this upcoming season. As for Boise State, we'll see how they're able to bounce back after losing Ashton Gency. But yeah, I'm definitely looking at this game, and I'm wanting to see it for sure.
I mean, you got two playoff teams from last year. It's gonna be at Notre Dame. Um, I honestly think that at the moment, at least for now, like if people want to say it's a 50-50 game, I wouldn't blame them. I think you got really good defense on both sides, but especially on Notre Dame. And I think you got really good offense. There's always been good offense for Boise, and you just you got that I think in Notre Dame too. So it'll be a really good thing to watch this year, good game to watch. I just think that ultimately, um, I would expect Notre Dame to win this one.
Yes, for sure. Let's move on to number 5. This is a rematch.
Yes.
I want you to talk about this. You know, you know you have some ties to Penn State, so uh, talk about this one first.
Yeah, so I think Penn State hosting Oregon here, going to be a big matchup. This is obviously a rematch of last year's Big Ten title game. And when I look at it, uh, I see the potential for a whiteout for Penn State. Could this be that game? They only do one a year. Do they want to use it up on Oregon? We'll see. But I think when you look at this game specifically, especially for Penn State, Drew Allen comes back, Nick Singleton comes back, Katron Allen comes back, a lot of returning faces in same old places. Um, I don't see why Penn State doesn't hit 10 or more wins. And it's possible they lose this game here, but it's also very possible that they win. And it would not surprise me at all.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all either. I mean, literally, Penn State was what a touchdown away from beating Oregon in the Big Ten championship whenever they were the underdog going into the game. I mean, Penn State. I like what Penn State brings back. I like what Oregon brings back. I think Oregon. If I had to put my money where my mouth is, obviously, I'm picking Oregon today. That could change in the next couple weeks or next couple months. But like as of like today, um, on May the 18th, I would pick Oregon to win the game. But it is at Penn State, very hostile environment to go into, especially if it would be the whiteout game. If It is the whiteout game, and Drew Aller coming back for them is going to be huge. Oregon loses their starting quarterback in Dylan Gabriel to the NFL, but they do have another one. I'm drawing a blank on his name. I know he went to UCLA. Uh, I can see his face. I know he was the UCLA quarterback a few years back. He sat on the bench to learn under Dylan Gabriel in that offense. He is a really good quarterback as well.
Dante Moore.
There you go, Dante Moore. Yeah. So, we all know that Dante Moore is a really good quarterback. It was a very shocking. It was very shocking to see Dante Moore hit the transfer portal and go to Oregon in the first place because Dante Moore was extremely good at UCLA. He had the starting job, and if he would have stayed at UCLA, he would have probably went to NFL. At UCLA. So it was like very shocking that he was willing to be on the bench for a whole year after he had the starting job. But he went on the bench for a whole entire year at Oregon, and he's going to be a very, very talented quarterback. Probably the more underrated quarterbacks coming into this season. But you got Drew Aller, also a veteran quarterback too, and he's been in this game before. So this is going to be one of them games that you're sitting on the edge of your seat with your butt clenched up really tight. And especially if you have to use the restroom, because like you're gonna want to wait till the commercials to use the restroom. This is going to be one of those games, and I can't wait for it.
For sure, man. I'm with you. Up next, we have Oregon, Penn State, Texas at Georgia here. I'm gonna let you take the lead here, Bulldog.
So seems like Texas coming into the SEC. Um, they ran into a brick wall. They were able to take care of business with every SEC team except for Georgia. They're 0-2 against Georgia since they've entered into the SEC, and um, they got to play them in the regular season again. This, this time, Texas has to go to Athens. Georgia does not really lose at Athens that much, so Texas, you had your chance to beat us at your house, but you got to come to our house this season, buddy. Um, you know, that's my thoughts on it. You're gonna see what Athens is like. You're gonna see uh, how this crowd roars, and um, I hope you're in for a good one, Texas.
Yeah.
I love it.
Penn
What's your
State,
thought?
Ohio State on November 1st. Oh, yeah,
Dang,
yeah, yeah.
you just gonna go over Georgia like that?
Or go over Texas. I don't know.
It's
Shook 'em.
okay. It's okay. Let's
My
go to
thoughts
let's
are
go.
simple. I mean, look. No, 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 no. You want to hear my thoughts? I'm gonna give you my 2 cents on this game. Texas is not going to win in Athens. They couldn't even win in Austin last year. They couldn't win the rematch. They just can't beat Georgia, man. They just can't. But they're still going to make the playoffs. They're still going to be in contention for a national championship. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. That's my thoughts.
Correct. Let's go to number 3. Pennsylvania State goes on the road to and Ohio State. Um, Let's actually talk about this later because I think you have a take about this game. I want to skip this because we're going to talk about this a little bit later in the hot takes segment. Let's talk about this game. So, you know, Alabama travels to Athens, Georgia. Georgia's going to beat Alabama. Okay, let's go to number one.
We don't know. Come on, man.
Okay, sorry. All right.
I mean, like it says here, new arms at quarterback. Gunnar Stockton for Georgia, Ty Simpson for the Crimson Tide. I do think Georgia's going to win. Case closed. But because they're at home and both teams have to start over at leadership on the offensive side, is what I think.
Yeah, that's an easy win for Georgia. Let's go on to number one.
Easy, my ass.
Texas goes on the road at Ohio State. This is really interesting because Texas had to face Michigan at Michigan last year. Texas beat Michigan. Texas has to travel to Ohio State, the horseshoe. I think this is going to be a lot closer game than what Texas at Michigan was. Um, this will be a rematch of the semifinal from last season. So we'll see what happens. I think this is going to be a very, very good game, and it's going to be very early in the season. What is it? The first or the second game? It's like one. Is it the first game of the season? The first game of the season?
Yes. Yeah. August 30th? Yeah. That's the first game
So,
for both teams.
like,
So it's the opener. And it's a home and home.
so this is huge. Yeah, this is very. This is going to be very. This honestly is going to.
Dude, literally you have the two favorites possibly for this year's championship, and someone's gonna start 0-1. How cool is
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I'm glad it's just not Georgia.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love this. I think that definitely should be number one because like the first game of the season, and it's going to get us hype for the rest of the season. This will kind of tell us what. I mean, these two teams have brand new quarterbacks. Arch Manning, and Ohio State has the Alabama transfer. What's the name again?
Julian saying.
Yeah, Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
So like they're gonna have to. They can't really have like too many mess up. Like Julian Sand can't go in there like messing up a whole lot, and Texas's quarterback Arch Manning can't really go in there and messing up too much because these two defenses are going to be extremely good. I could see this being a really low scoring game, to be honest. And like we said about Jeremiah Smith, Ohio State, he's going to be able to help Ohio State, and he's going to be able to help Julian Sand a lot as well if they can utilize him really well. Texas, on the other hand, they do have some great wide receivers. Don't get me wrong, but like Texas is going to have to use uh, the trenches, offense, defense line to really help them out to win that game. I think it's going to be a battle of the trenches, and it's going to be whose quarterback gets to their playmakers the best, and that's who's going to win that game. But anyways, let's wrap this segment up, and let's go hot take time, buddy.
Uh-huh.
What's your first hot take?
Ohio State loses to Penn State this year in Happy Valley, but finally gets over the hump and beats Michigan, which I believe is at home in Columbus in 2025. I think it's time that they get over that Michigan hump, get the thorn out of their side. But Penn State's going to be dangerous with everything they got returning. They get over the hump as well and beat Ohio State for the first time since 2016. What do you say?
I mean, that's not bad. That's not a bad take. I like it.
Anything you would disagree on, or do you think that it's like, could you see it actually happening?
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. You know, eventually Penn State has got to get over the hump, and it could totally be this year. We say that every single year, but like eventually, if we keep on saying it enough, like eventually, yeah, I could definitely see that. And so, to me, that's a fair take. Um, and I love it.
All right. Let's see what you got in store, man. What's your first take? Well,
Belichick, old Billy Belichick, is one and done, son. I think he has a terrible year at North Carolina, and he leaves. I think he just leaves the program. I don't think it's a necessarily like a firing situation. I think it's just he's just going to retire. I think they're just going to part ways. I don't necessarily believe that North Carolina has the money and the stuff like that to pay his buyout or whatever. I don't think it's that. I just think it's just going to be such a terrible year, and I think he's way too old to be stressing out about this type of stuff, and he just wants to probably be with his girlfriend Jordan, and do some crazy things with her, and I just think he's going to realize that college football is probably not his style, and or I could see a world where he gets back into the NFL for a few more years. I just think North Carolina is just like his like one little pit stop that he's going to make a 1 year stop at, either get back into the NFL or he's just going to retire from it all. I mean, he's getting old, man. Let's take a look at North Carolina's schedule here. They start out with TCU. That could easily be a loss. They'll probably beat Charlotte. They'll probably beat Richmond. They got face UCF. That could easily be a loss. Then they have a bye week to get ready for Clemson, but it's not going to matter because Clemson's going to beat them. I mean, yeah, Clemson's going to beat them. And then you got on the road at California. California is not a very good team, but they're not a terrible team like they were historically. They had a pretty good season this past season, I believe, like either going 6-6 or 7-5 or something. I mean, that's pretty good for California. California is just historically terrible, but they got to go on the road at California. If California still I think California loses that really, really good running back that they had. But I still think California could beat them at home. West Virginia, not West Virginia, but Virginia could beat North Carolina as well. They got to go on the road at Syracuse. That's a loss. Stanford, you know, I mean, you might get a few wins, but you probably beat Wake Forest. You might beat Duke. I think 3 wins. 1, 2, 3. I say 4-8 looks about right for North Carolina this upcoming
okay.
season. 4-8.
Yeah,
I
I
say four.
agree with you. I say, dang it, to put emphasis on the fact that it's sad that it's come to this for North Carolina.
Yeah, I think 4-8 is realistic. Um, if somebody said 5-7, just because they they want to give one more win to North Carolina just to make old Billy Belichick feel better. But I think Bill Belichick's going to realize that maybe this whole college deal is not his style, and I've heard some rumors that really Belichick wants his son to be the head coach there, and he's kind of setting up a path for his son to be the next head coach. That could be something that Bill Belichick is doing. I don't know if that's just rumors or if that is something realistic that may be happening. I don't know, but I just feel like Bill Belichick's not going to be there for a long time, and it's just like he's there for a good time, not a long time. You know why? I mean, just you know how that song goes, but yeah. So like Bill Belichick going to do one season, might get back into the pros, or just call it a career, man. I just don't see Belichick doing this college thing for long term. I think this is really just to give a middle finger to the NFL and the Patriots, saying, "Hey, I can do this." He's going to find out that he can't do it. If you don't get back into the NFL, he's just going to hang it up and call it a career, so that
Right.
people don't really remember this catastrophe of a year.
Yeah.
Let's look at your second take.
Okay. Castellanos at Florida State helps or fixes the offense and will win 8 games for Florida State. I think the big thing missing last year, they had a couple good receivers, but DJ was not it, man. I don't think. And I think Florida State can put the ACC lawsuits and stuff behind them, realize they messed up, focus on trying to win, and get back to playing real football. What do you think, man?
I'm the biggest Florida State hater in all of YouTube, so I think they're going to go 12. Really, um, Castellanos, and he looked good at. I think he looked good at Boston College, but he got benched, and then he quit the team. Um, and then he's going to go to Florida State and thinking that he can fix Florida State's offense and stuff like that. And I mean that's fine and dandy, but what happens whenever times gets tough and you just going to quit the team again? I don't know, but yeah, I like Castellanos. I think he's very talented. I am the biggest Florida State hater, and I want to continue that this upcoming season as well. So like, I think you have a great take. I'm not taking away from your take. I'm not saying you have a bad take. But it is a hot take, and I'm gonna keep on the Florida State hate bandwagon.
Yeah,
Here's my
I
second
gotcha.
take. LSU starts 0-1 again with loss to Clemson week 1. Kelly goes 0-4 in openers. And like I'm saying this not because I think LSU is going to have a bad season. I'm not saying that at all. I think they'll bounce back from this week 1 loss. I mean, we just talked about a few minutes ago how week 1 you're going to have Texas on the road at Ohio State. One of them two teams have to lose. They're both probably going to be in the playoffs at the end of the year. Same situation, LSU versus Clemson. Both teams could very well make the playoffs this upcoming season. So I'm not saying that LSU is going to be garbage because they lose to Clemson. I just don't trust Brian Kelly in week 1 until I see them win finally a week 1 game. I had all my eggs in one basket last season saying LSU was going to go 11-1. And boy, was I the biggest dummy. I mean, they underperformed highly from my expectations last season. So, like, I'm gonna until they win a week 1 game. This will be my hot take every single year. LSU starts 0-1 again with whoever they open with, until I see them either face like a terrible team, like or like a Kent State, or if they play one of these Power Four teams every year to open up week 1, I'm gonna say they're gonna lose. Brian Kelly has to prove that to me. All right, want to go to your third take, Ballard?
Yeah, I am going to go to Kentucky in the SEC, of course. This name probably sounds familiar because he beat Alabama one year. But Zach Calzada, who, yes, is still in college, now at Kentucky, I think he's going to have a great season. I think he's a great passing quarterback. I think he's mobile. I think he does a lot of things right. And honestly, the past couple years at quarterback for Kentucky, they bring in all these transfers. They have somewhat of a roller coaster. They get some good years, some bad. But I feel like this could be one of Mark Stoops' better teams. What do you think?
Oh, I love this take. I love this hot take that you have here because
Yeah,
yeah, I love it. I love this take because Zach Calzada, the hot pocket, he is going to be a hot pocket quarterback for this Kentucky team. And Kentucky's going to have a great season.
yeah,
Kentucky is my second favorite team. If Georgia Bulldogs were to quit their football team today, I'm a Kentucky neckbeard all the way. And Kentucky's going 100-0 tomorrow if Georgia was to lose their football program today. Like, yes, I
right,
totally agree with this take. Zach Calzada, we haven't really heard from him in a couple years. He's been at some, I don't even know. I, I don't even, I've never even heard of that college before, but, he went
right,
to some college that we had never even heard of. I don't even think it's division. I don't even think it's Division 2 football, is it? I don't know. But anyways, what I do know is he's back in the SEC,
yeah,
and he's very familiar with the SEC. He's had pit stops. Texas A&M, Auburn, now Kentucky, his third SEC team. He's going to have a great season. He's going to catch a lot of teams off guard because a lot of people don't forgot about him. A lot of people don't forgot, uh, you know, the great hot pocket in Calzada. I think their schedule is not extremely hard. They do have Texas, they do have Georgia, which I think are two immediate losses. But then they have teams like Ole Miss, which don't forget, Ballard, they beat Ole Miss at Ole Miss last season. They can
right,
totally do it again with Zach Calzada. Zach Calzada's definitely a better quarterback than what they've had this past season. Also, yeah, I know they lose their top wide receiver. I believe his name was Barry Brown. I know they lose him, so they're going to have to replace him, and I'm sure they have. Um, Kentucky's really good offensively on the line and defensively on the line, so their trenches are really, really good. They're going to have one of the best defensive lines in the SEC once again. I think their secondary is going to be an average secondary. I don't think it's going to be like horrible, but I don't think it's going to be like the best in the world. I think they're going to be able to keep up with some teams. I think Mark Stoops has been in the SEC for a long while now at Kentucky, and he knows what it takes to have a good team. Yeah, for the past couple of years they haven't really been up to the standard of what he was doing with Kentucky with winning 9 and 10 games per year, but like that is to be expected whenever you're talking about Kentucky and entering into this world of NIL and the transfer portal type of you know realm of college football. So like that is to be expected that Kentucky wasn't going to perform as high as like a Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, you know, and so on and so forth, like Ohio States and Michigans of the world, right? So like
Right.
Of course Kentucky's not going to be able to uh you know do good in NIL and transfer portal and stuff like that. They can get a Zach Calzada, which is a very good quarterback, and he can definitely win you some games. Their schedule does favor them though because yeah they do have Florida, but I believe they have Florida at home, and then they got Tennessee, which Tennessee has to travel to Kroger Field as well. Tennessee loses Nico. I'm about to leave you. He already left you. Peace. Goodbye. He already left him, and they left him too. They got divorced, and so like what is Tennessee going to be like? Could Tennessee drop off from what they were this past season after making the 12-team playoffs for the first time? Are they going to like completely drop off, or can Kentucky beat them? Other than that, they got like Eastern Michigan. That's an easy win. They got some other easy teams that they can easily beat. They got a Vanderbilt, which Vanderbilt's going to be kind of like the similar team that they were this past season, but I still think they're a beatable team. Got a lot of beatable teams. They also get South Carolina. They have to go on the road to face South Carolina, but Kentucky and South Carolina is one of them games like it's 50-50. It's a 50-50 football game. Um, you know, I'm sure South Carolina fans will say, "Well, we're going 100-0," but it seems like South Carolina every single time that they have a really really good season, the following season they go 6-6 or something like that. So like it wouldn't surprise me if Kentucky beat South Carolina at Williams Bryce, but it will also wouldn't surprise me if South Carolina would beat Kentucky. So I could see Kentucky going 8-4. I can see even Kentucky going 9-3, and you know even hey, I'm gonna tell you a secret. Hey, don't tell anybody, Ballard, but I can see them going 10-2 as well. So, anyways, I'm very high on Kentucky this season,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
here's my third take. Actually, like I don't want to, guys. Don't tell Ballard, okay, guys. The audience that is listening, do not tell Ballard. But I said that this is Mayhem's third and final take, but really this is mine and Ballard's third and final take. Don't tell Ballard. But anyways, Bama misses the playoffs again for the second straight year. What's your thoughts? That can't be real, right? Hello? No way. Ballard. Hello? Ballard? Ballard. Hmm. Well, yeah, my third take is Bama misses the playoffs again for the second straight year. And Ballard falls asleep on stream for the second Touchdowns live show. If you like this content, please smash the thumbs up. If you really like this content, hit the subscribe button. Ballard is on his way to 1,500 subscribers. I love y'all. Y'all have an amazing night and good morning.
Hey folks, this is Christian Ballard. You're